Hello, people listening. How's it doing? Today, I just want to address a very serious thing. A lot of people would remember this. A lot of older people remember. But abuse in schools. That be Christian schools, priests, nuns, etc. So, as we all know, it was tough. Schools years ago in this country. Anybody over 30 would remember being beaten with bamboo sticks, being beaten with sticks, been beat with whips, belts, and everything. Anybody would remember that. Obviously, I wasn't alive back then to experience that thing. Thankfully, I wasn't alive. But we hear stories of poor people being severely hurt to this day by the beatings they got when they were younger in schools. And personally, my family, my father was, it's a long story, but basically he got a huge rap to the side of here, and he takes it deafened him, which is probably true. Nobody ever found evidence for it, but he probably did it because he literally got smacked so hard and nearly knocked him out. Like it's terrible abuse, and even I know 3 or 4 people that got with, I don't know, it was knuckles or something, I don't know, but the whole tops of the fingers, even to this day, still the tops of this part of the fingers is not there. And simple as that, because it's wet so deep. The headmaster put, I don't know what it was, it could have been other thing. Then I know of people that told me stories about the headmaster putting cigarette butts into their mouth and making them eat them. Like, that was severely bad, and then it gets worse with the church. Then when you go into churches and convent secondary schools for girls that were run by nuns. There was one girl, she's long dead now, sadly. But there was one woman when I was growing up telling me about when she was girl, was in a convent, basically let's put it that way, it was secondary school. There was one by the nuns. And I put it straight to you, and wise would put it straight, they were bad bitches. And that's what he said, was that, bad bitches, and they were not God. People thought of them as God on earth years ago, but I snub at them now. And that's what people should do, because it was evil what they used to do to poor innocent people, poor innocent children. Like, it was evil. It was evil what they done to older people, no, to anybody. They were evil, the Catholic Church. But the war, the dominant religion, probably still out the dominant religion in this country, if that's not jihadi going on. But it was severely bad what she got, because they thought she was going out with a boy, and terribly bad, terribly bad. Locked in the room for 2 weeks without anything. She could only get water. That's all she could get. Didn't give her food. Left her to starve. Because it was a kind of comfort, if you get what I'm saying. But they didn't go home. They only went home every so often. Or twice a month. I don't know. It was very hard. I can't remember. It's very hard to remember. But I think it was a comfort. But, it wasn't really it was a private school. I don't know. Something like that. But I don't really know. It's hard to remember. I think it was a private school, but I just don't remember. But I look at it, I remember somebody we were talking about it one Christmas. Yeah, I was talking to somebody about it one Christmas. I get back to you on that, yeah, because I think it was a private school. I'm not too sure. It could have been, but she was locked in there for 2 weeks, and then she was beaten, terribly beaten. Because they were taught they were having inappropriate contact, and that was worse without even getting married. Because if you weren't married years ago and you had a baby or anything like that, you were basically just condemned. But it was cruel, and the Taoiseach today has apologised for people who are abused in school, because this was nothing but abuse that they got. We think it's bad nowadays, school. We have to experience what it was like back then. Just terrible. It was terrible. Especially in Catholic schools. Terrible. Especially, I know a few teachers I used to have. The only thing the teachers wanted to do, priests and teachers, when they got to secondary school, was do Irish. And if you didn't know your Irish, they literally batter you, break your neck nearly to know the Irish. And then in national schools, if you didn't learn much, if you didn't know much, if you were a dumbass, more or less what they called them years ago, then you wouldn't get your confirmation. That's, it's really, really sick. It's really, really sick. And then we hear stories. I heard loads of stories about priests. If you didn't know much in school, you had to give the books to the Catholic Church, and then they might just let you in to get your confirmation. It was all about the money back then in the Catholic Church. The only thing they wanted was to take the last cent out of the rich man's pocket, or the poor man's pocket, because the rich wouldn't give it. Because, you know what, if you don't know much in school, you know what you can do. You can pay the Catholic Church to get your confirmation. But thankfully, at least it doesn't go on now, or hopefully. But it just goes to show you how much evil was in the world. And I really, really have to show my heart and my huge apologies, I suppose, on behalf of the state who failed them people. And that's really simple that. Because they failed them. They failed the people, the older people. They failed them because this just shouldn't have been going on. If the government had any control of the state, but obviously it was the church who had the main control of it all of the time. It was the church, it was the Catholic Church, and nobody could stand up to them. My heart really goes out to people who were abused, because still to this day there's people who have scars, as I said about that person with his knuckles, because it's sickening to look at, because you can just see the blood. You can see, I don't know, but it's not on my hand obviously, but it's just sick. It's just sick. How anybody would do that? Like, it's something the Japanese would have done years ago. Like, it's thankfully it doesn't go on. Anyway, my apologies to anybody who was upset by listening to my stories, because that's a few experiences. But I will find out about that thing. But I think it was. I'm not too sure. Let's be honest, because it was when I was younger. Could have been a convent. Could have been a private school. It's either one of the two. But I find it out. Watch the beginning of the next video and I will tell you. Anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe for more and bye.